I think success should be measured by your happiness, not your pocketbook. You've got to figure out what makes you happy and how to turn that into a career. If you love the process and not the prize, you'll... Hey, thanks everybody for joining us tonight for Coffee with Jake G. We've got a special guest tonight, and Brittany, I'll let you introduce yourself here in just a little bit. But tonight's coffee is Brown Cow out of North Central Kansas, and this was given to me by Mike. So Mike, thanks for the Brown Cow coffee, and it's pretty good. I like it. So Brittany, I'll introduce you a little bit, and then you can kind of tell us a little bit about why you're here tonight. We met, 5 or 6 years ago at a Lax concert in Salina, right? And then you reached out as part of our 50 Gifts, 50 Wish program just a couple months ago. And we kind of reacquainted, and you became a Child Fund sponsor. And so part of that for you was you wanted a pool day. And so we had you out and got to enjoy an afternoon in the pool day. And then at that event, we kind of really got to talking a little bit, and you told me about a little bit about your life and your journey and your new passion for this creative art that you've discovered and super talented at. But just last week we talked again, and you said, hey, I think I'm ready to tell my story. And as we know, and as you guys know, there's something powerful in telling your story, and especially a story that other people need to hear, and that especially women, but not exclusively women, will appreciate, and hopefully you can help them along their journey, and maybe prevent them from having to go through some of the things that you went through. So I'll let you, I'll kind of just let you start, because I really don't know your story, and so I'm kind of interested in that as well.
All right, I'm Brittany. So I've been, just kind of traveling down this road of life where, I thought that, it's all about just getting up, going to work every day, coming home, and, whether it was hard. I was going home to a relationship that I, thought was going really, really well and everything. And, I started getting these weird feelings. I started feeling really anxious. I started getting sick. I lost 50 pounds. People started, making comments, oh, Brittany, you look really, really great. And, and deep down inside, I knew that was a lie. I wasn't feeling great. I might have been looking good on the outside, but I wasn't feeling good on the inside. And I wasn't feeling good about myself or where I was headed. And, as Jake said, I kind of reached out, and that was when I realized, there's so much more to life than just getting up, going to work every single day, and coming home and trying to pretend or be phony about things, life wasn't that great. And I made a decision, to come back home for a week. And, I kind of started looking inward on, my life and where it was headed, and it scared me. I was just like, gosh, that's not where I want to go, and that's not why I was put here. And I started feeling really good about myself, and I was like, well, you know what, it's time to go back home and, and try to get some things figured out for myself. So I went back home for a week, and all these feelings that I had before I left started coming back to me, and I was just like, man, my train is really, really derailing, and it was really, really subtle.
Okay. So I want you to give me a little background of where do you think things started going wrong for you? And really, I think you've mentioned that it really started about 10 years ago, and really evolves around your relationship. But obviously, life was good for you. You were happy in life before. And so where do you think things went wrong? I mean, looking back, and I know you're still in that phrase, but there are women out there who can relate to your story. So give us a little background of what happened.
I first started with love bombing, really. You know, he was doing all these great things for me, telling me how great of a person I was. You know, he was, you know, we'd go out to movies. Like, we would do everything that a normal relationship would. And, you know, that kind of is what made me fall in love with him. And made me feel really good about myself. Like, I was like, man, finally I found someone that's, you know, that's perfect for me, that's right for me. And, you know, we were on and off, per se. We would always get into arguments, and he'd always be like, this is why I never want a relationship with you, and da-da-da-da. And you know, we'd always talk it out, and then, you know, we would be fine, and things would go on, you know, the next day and the next day. And we broke up. I moved to Kansas City. You know, I was making great money, didn't really care for my job, but yet I was still, you know, doing really, really, really well. And, you know, he reached out to me, and I was like, you know, I was in a good place to go back to him, I thought. And, you know, I moved back here, and, you know, I called for a week straight, and it always just went straight to voicemail. And, you know, then about a week went by, and he called me, and he's like, hey, I've just been busy doing this, and this, and sorry, you know, I just needed some time for myself and whatnot. And, you know, we started slowly, you know, getting back into things. You know, it was like New Year's Eve, I think it was. We had a little get together at my mom's house where I was staying, and Marquette, you know, he came over, things were great. I thought it was going good. You know, and things just started progressing from there. I got my own place, and then, like, you know, sexual things, you know, started to come up, and, well, how do you feel about, you know, having threesomes and you know, doing all that? And at the point in my life, I was like, well, you know, I love this man, and you know, I'd be willing to try it, you know, and was kind of manipulated into it, but, you know, we did it, and I'd say we had a lot of good times through it.
But it wasn't what you wanted.
It wasn't what I wanted, and you know, it just progressed from there, and it got out of hand, you know, and you know, I reached out one day, and you know, I've had a lot of female issues with my self, just as far as, you know, my menstrual cycles and stuff, and
right.
I did a lot of research, and I was like, I want to try CBD, you know, and he's like, well, I think that'd be great, you know, let's try this and do this. And, well, I just wanted to try CBD, and, well, it turned into so much more than that, and it literally it got out of hand. You know, I got mixed up into, you know, pot, and I can't say that I had a bad experience with it. You know, some were great, and some were not so much. And
but again, it was something that not something that you wanted.
it's not something I wanted to do. I've never been one of those that want to go out there and do illegal things. It's just, that's not who I am. That's not what I'm about. But I did it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I kind of lost my self-control over it, over, you know, people's words. You know, I started just listening to the words and not paying attention to any of the actions.
So where did the abuse, where did the manipulation start?
Well, you know, looking back on it, manipulation started from day one. I just didn't see it. And that's so scary to me that it took me 10 years to see it.
Right.
And it destroyed me. But it really got to the point where, you know, I started standing up for myself, and I'm just like, no, we're not doing that. I'm not going down that road. And, you know, then, like, he took that and then flipped it to where he was really asking me the same thing, but in a different way, to make me feel good about myself, and to buy into it. And so I bought into it. I bought into a lot more than I would have ever done as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. And that's kind of it's led me to where I am right now.
Mm.
You know, completely broken, lost, and confused.
Yeah.
And it's all because I just listened to the words and didn't pay attention to any of the actions. And when I took that week and I just left and I didn't tell them, you know, where I was going or didn't have any contact with them, that's when my eyes were just open, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, Brittany, like, what have you gotten yourself into? You know, there was conversations about, you know, all of his ex-girlfriends, and, you know, my story was the same as theirs as I started to make, you know, the correlations. And I'm just like, those women were probably strong enough to get out.
Yeah.
But I wasn't, and now I've taken it way too far. Now I get to undo it all. You know, I was being compared, you know, to ex-girlfriends, and it's like, if you are being compared to another woman, then get out. You know, get out as fast as you can. Don't say anything. Just leave. You shouldn't be compared to anyone, because you are your own person, and if they can't truly love you for who you are or what you want to be with, then it's not for you. And, you know, and it was constantly, I care about your comfort, and I care about this, and I care about that, but never once did I really hear him say, I care about you. You know, I was getting, you know, he was buying me things, you know, like a dehumidifier and a microwave and stuff like that. Those are materialistic things. Those are things that I can go out and get myself that I didn't really need. If I needed them, I would have went and got them myself.
Right.
You know, but that's that trap that they use to keep you, is, you know, buying you all this stuff. And then, you know, we'd make plans to go out and do something that normal people would do, and would just fall asleep. And then, you know, he'd call and say, I'm so sorry I fell asleep, and and I forgave him, and I thought it was okay. And, you know, that's truly who he was. That's all I've known. You know, he does, you know, go to sleep and everything. And then it's just like, wow, that's not right. That's not normal behavior. Like, if you truly wanted to go out and do these things with me, like, you would make it a point to be up and you know, ready to go and out there. But instead, you know, it might be 1 o'clock in the morning, and here he comes, and it's like, hey, you want to go out and take a cruise? And it's like, no, I don't. And, you know, it's 1:30 in the morning. I just got to bed. I want to sleep.
Yeah. Okay. You so just a ton of emotional abuse that just really, you feel like, broke you over the years, and kind of took you to a person you didn't even recognize anymore. Yeah. As it goes through there. Okay. All right. Very good. Well, I'm sorry that had led you to the point. Where did you really feel like? When did you know? When did you know that? When was your recognizing point? Because obviously it was a 10-year journey for you. What was your recognizing point for that?
You know, one Friday I got so manic that I was just like, you know, I'm going to put all my stuff in a storage shed, and I'm going to go back home to where my roots are, and start to find myself and who I am. And because I know this isn't who I am, or I knew at the time that that's not who I was. And I have so much more to give. I have so much love and compassion in my heart, and it was trapped. And I was like, what is it that's, you know, keeping me, you know, living this life? And, you know, it was me. You know, I was a people pleaser, wanting to, you know, make sure everyone else was happy, and Brittany wasn't happy. And you know, so I come back home, and I'm, you know, sitting in a friend's driveway, and I'm just like, man, like, I gotta go get some help. And I realized, you know, I'm a strong girl. I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot of trauma, you know, just in my, you know, childhood, growing up and stuff. And I've always just kind of put it away and thought that was a good place for it to be. But, you know, things started reappearing from my past. And one thing I didn't tell you the day that we had our pool day is I pulled into your driveway, and, you know, it kind of wise off, and I'm terrified of snakes, and there was a snake that was slithering across the driveway to the left, and I was just like, yeah, that, you know, that's not where I want to go. And after I left here that day, I was like, why did I see that snake? And I was just like, you know what, that means a new beginning for me. And that's kind of where I am. So, as I was sitting in that, my friend's driveway, I'm just like, you know what, there is a new beginning. So I called and asked for help, and they recommended partial hospitalization for me, which is, if you're not familiar with it, it's just kind of like you go to activity groups, and you try to learn to cope, or that's what it was, trying to learn to cope with anxiety and depression and all of that. And I found myself sitting there and thinking, and as I'm hearing other people's story, some people have been in there 2 or 3 times, and I'm just like, this is a place for help. You should go here once, and then you should come out of here feeling really good about yourself and not have to go back. And I'm just like, man, this isn't going to be me. So I tried to stick it out. I navigated through the week, and Friday rolls around, and it was just a mess. Like, I go in there, and bless her heart, the nurse had called in sick, and they talk about you right in front of you and say things, and I'm just like, my anxiety just went up, and realized, this is not for me. So I finished, I left at noon that day, and I went back Monday, tried to go in with an open mind, and just like, man, this really isn't where I want to go. Like, there's, I need to find my faith. God put me here for a reason, and I need to find it. And they didn't teach you things that had, that I felt useful, that I could cope with what was going on with me. So I started doing a lot of research on, the brain and how it works and everything. And, it was kind of just a realization for me, like, this is me, this is my life, this is my choice I got to make. And I got to learn how to rewire myself and to think differently. And, so I woke up that Monday, I went there, and I was just like, I'm checking out today, I'm discharging. And it was a, kind of a fight. It was just like, you need to talk to a therapist and all of that. And finally at 11:30 that day, I finally got in to talk to the therapist, and, he agreed. He's like, yeah, we're going to graduate you today. And, that felt really good. I walked out of there, and I'm just like, I learned so much about myself, even though, like, it wasn't the place for me. I really learned that I can do this. I can get through anything. I'm strong enough to get through it. It's just, finding the right way. And so I started setting little goals for myself. Made me feel good about myself. I did after our pool day, I went and bought woodworking, or wood burning stuff rather, and did that. And I didn't know how to use the tool. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I'm just like, I found some stencils, and just like, I'm just going to draw this out real quick. And I looked at one YouTube video just to learn about the tips and everything, and I dug right in, made it. It's beautiful. I wish I would have brought it with me today. And I felt really, really good about myself. And I'm just like, how do I say this? Creativity was the only thing that, I felt like was left in me. And I really enjoyed it, and it made me feel really good. And so as I navigate this, I'm just like, I gotta start setting little goals for myself. So never been a bed maker. In fact, I hated making my bed. And I just made that a point, like, I'm gonna make my bed today, and if that's the only thing that I do, then that's okay, because I did something that made me feel good about myself. And I woke up yesterday and was like, I'm gonna straighten my hair today. Well, we live in Kansas, and the humidity is awful, so I was like, I did straighten my hair, and it looked like a mess, but I went about it because that made me feel good. Sure. And I didn't really give I didn't care what people thought, that my hair was sticking clear out to here. And then today I woke up, and we talked about doing this podcast, and I was super excited, and I had my med appointment today, and I got to say, I'm not taking any of my meds other than the tool that I was given to help relieve anxiety when it really comes on. And through all this, I've had a lot of acid reflux, so I've been taking some acid reflux medication as well, and that's helped tremendously. But I was like, I'm gonna put makeup on today. I'm gonna feel really, really good about myself. And I went to my med appointment, and I was talking to my doctor, and it was just it was such a liberating experience for me to get to tell her, like, I've been digging down deep to find myself and who I am, and medication, I'm not taking Zoloft as I was prescribed. Like, medication isn't going to make me happy, especially as I started to connect with all these people that were, sitting in these process groups with me, and they're like, my medication isn't working no more, and I still feel like if I get out of here, I'm going to go right back to the same person that I was, so medication wasn't the answer, and I'm just like, I have to find something in me that's going to help me make me feel better, and the creativity was one of them. Finding my faith is really, really important to me. So, reaching out to pastors and start going to church while I haven't actually started yet, like, that's something that's important to me, and it's going to happen here in the near future. But what I've learned through all of this is, my train derailed real quickly, and just bringing it all back to the station where my roots were, having my family, because the last 10 years of my life, I've kind of put my family at a distance, and didn't think that was important, and the only thing important was the one man in my life that I thought that I actually needed. And now going through this is really the only person that I need is me and God. I had a really good therapy appointment yesterday, and at the end of it, he prayed with me, and that felt really, really good, and I kind of feel like that's kind of set my mindset for this week. So if I could say something out there to the women out there that are struggling, and you're completely lost, you're confused. I started losing my memory. I couldn't remember things. I started getting physically ill. I was going to the doctor, saying this is wrong, we're doing all these labs, we're doing all these CT scans, all this stuff, and everything come back great. You're a healthy individual, and I'm just like, well, what is this? What is going on? And it's anxiety and depression, and it's real, and it can take a toll on you, and it can take a toll on you, your mental health, and it started affecting me physically, and I wish I would have seen that, but back then. But I'm so glad that I woke up one day, and I was just like, man, there's so much more to life, and it's okay to feel like this, and
Sure.
and so here I am today, still, like, I feel like this is my new beginning. I'm just starting to learn more about myself and who I really am, and where I want to go in life. And one thing that's always been so dear and so important to me is helping others, and how I'm going to achieve that. And I've done a lot of research here lately, and I'm just like, I work for a big pharmaceutical company, and they've given me the opportunity to take this time and find myself. And as I find myself, I'm just like, I want to start doing more that's going to help me heal as a person, and also help others heal as a person. So I've kind of started looking at coaching programs and whatnot, because you really got to dig down deep and really find who you are. You got to learn how to love yourself before you can love
Sure.
others. And going about this, I that's one thing that I just wake up every day, and it's like, you got to love yourself, Brittany.
Sure.
I have to look in the mirror and be appreciative of who I am.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So when you reached out, first of all, let me say you're a super strong person for doing this today and tonight with us. When you reached out and we talked about the pool day, I got a sense from you that there was you told me there was a little bit of stuff going on in your life, but then you kind of were absent for a couple of days. I messaged you to confirm that you were going to show up that first week, and we didn't hear back from you, and that's always a sign. It's always a sign for me that there's something going on in a person's life. And so I knew that there was some stress in your environment, and because things just didn't add up and they didn't fit real right. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back 10 years ago. Where do you think things started going wrong for you?
I don't really have a solid answer on that, as I'm still trying to find myself. But I just stopped caring about myself. I thought that I had everything that I needed in my life. I had a great job. I had that stability. I was on my own. I was kind of living life, what I thought life was about. And I started listening to, what other people, started saying, and, I started.
Were they saying good things or bad things?
They were saying, kind of both, but it was manipulation, and I started going down that route, trying to, they were, well, you should, how do I say this,
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
You have a job, you have this, you have, stable income and everything like that. And, a lot of people don't have that, and they're, they would want that. And I'm just like, yeah, you're right. So I just kept going on and going on. And,
so were they trying to make you feel guilty?
There was a lot of guilt in it. Trying to, make me feel guilty about having the things that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the things that I had because I was a strong person.
Mm-hmm.
I've failed miserably, but I've always been able to get myself back on track. And I just found myself like being in the circle constantly, where things would happen and I'd get knocked down for a while, and I'm just like, how do I get back on track? And I let it go for so long. I didn't ask for help. I'm a strong woman. I didn't need help at that time. That's what I kept telling myself, when in fact, I should have asked for help then. And I failed miserably at work, and I've always been that one, the self-starter, the go-getter, trying to figure out how to get back on track. And I couldn't do it anymore. And I started finding myself like really breathing deep and sighing a lot. And I'm just like, what is this wrong? Nothing's wrong with you, Brittany. You just got to keep going and keep pushing forward. And
where was this source of information coming from? Who was giving you this feedback of you need to be this and this and this, or you have this and this and this?
I found it happening in my work. I found it happening in my relationship, and even kind of when I would reach out, and talk to family, and it's just like, it was almost like they're constantly telling me, you're fine, you got to go on, you got to let it go, and everything. And I've always been that one that could put it in the closet and shut the door and not let it back out again. But as I just navigated through these last 10 years, I found more and more that I wasn't able to let it go. And then I started feeling guilty, and I started, people were always like, well, it's all about other people's perception on and how they view you. And, then I really did think that, I really did worry more about what other people thought of me, and I lost myself. I lost who I was and what I meant, and I was living my life for other people and not for myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why do you think it took so long? Why do you think it took 10 years for you to wake up and see that?
Because I thought I was happy. I didn't know who myself. I'd lost myself that much, and I'd listened to everybody else, and I thought that's what life was about, and I never took the time to stop and actually reflect on where I was going or what I was doing. And I didn't ever have anxiety. It was just crazy to even think that that's what I could have. And I thought that was all that life was meant to be.
Did you enjoy your work?
Absolutely. I really did. I felt like that was a place for me to go and to be something. And I still, to this day, I'm just like, why did it take me 10 years to wake up? And it's like, well, I enjoyed my work. That was my release. I got to go be around different people with different perceptions on things, different outlooks on things, and it made me feel good about myself. I did things like, I failed, and there was days that I walked out of there in tears, But I knew that I had to get up and go do it again the next day, and I was able to get through it. I wish it wouldn't have taken 10 years. And I think a lot of it is, I woke up one day and my values had completely changed. You know,
Like
what was important to me. You know, my faith was, you know, starting to weigh on my mind, and it's just like, you know, you get on social media and you read all these things and you see about how people are, you know, praying and how God's done, you know, such wonderful things for them, and I'm just like, well, why hasn't he done wonderful things to me or for me? And
how have your values changed?
The things I valued, like myself. Like when I woke up that one day, and I can bring you back to where it was. Like I woke up in a complete panic. It felt like I was having a heart attack, and I ended up throwing up that day and choking. And I had to go to work. I had to get myself together. It was 3:30 in the morning, and I was like, I have to go to work today. You know, and I took myself to work, and as I navigated through that day, my legs were jello. Like I found myself not concentrating, not being able to think, and so I left work that day and made an appointment to see my doctor. And that was kind of my wake-up call, you know, for me. And it's like the things that you value in life, this job, you know, this, you know, stable money coming in, this relationship, you know, all these things that I thought I had that were going so well, like they're still very, very important to me. But the values that I have, you know, the honest, loyal, you know, finding my faith, finding who I am and being loyal to myself, and not always worrying about being loyal to others. And it's not saying that I don't want to be loyal to others, but because I absolutely do, but I wasn't being loyal to myself. I wasn't allowing myself. I realized that I have so much potential in me, and I have so much more to give than just waking up every day and doing shift work, you know, and just feeling mentally exhausted afterwards, and then trying to navigate through my, you know, the rest of my day or even my days off. And it was this complete fog for me. And it's just like, that wasn't what was important to me. What's important to me is myself and my well-being and getting myself right, because you have to learn to love yourself before you can learn to love others and help others.
So we were sitting in the pool, and the whole point of Coffee with Jake G is that we want to help people find their true calling in life, their purpose in life, their dream in life, and removing those stumbling blocks. And you were telling me that you weren't sure about your career in the future and where you wanted to go. And so I asked you, you know, I said, what do you enjoy? Like, you already had this dream in your mind. You wanted to own an art boutique someday, or how did you describe it?
I wanted to own my own business.
Yeah, you wanted to be an entrepreneur and you wanted to work for yourself. And then I said, okay, well, what are you going to do? And so then you said, well, there's this high-tech laser out there that I want to be able to create, do sculptures, do artwork, and different things like that. And you said eventually you wanted to have a boutique. And so my mind was cranking, and I was thinking, I was like, well, where is this? You know, where is this? So I just challenged you, right? I said, well, hey, I want you to leave here tonight. I want you to go to Hobby Lobby, and I want you to buy a wood burning kit. And I want you to start with that. And then I want you to send it to me, which you did. And then I want you to create a social media page, and I want you to put that out there. And I don't know if you've done that yet or not.
I haven't yet.
Yeah, because there's an element of perception and fear, right? Of what people are going to think of you. And that's why for me this video cast, this podcast was so important. And I'm glad that you're here, because this is the next step of you really just laying it out there, saying, hey, this is who I truly am. And when you sent me that photo of the piece that you created, I asked you how you felt, and you said what?
I felt really good about myself. I felt accomplished.
Yeah. And you know, I've heard this time and time again, and I've always been told that when you're creating, you're as close to God as you're ever going to be. He is the ultimate creator. And there's something free about that. Sometimes, sometimes I write songs just to write a song for a certain topic or for a certain person. And sometimes I just sit down and I write whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm at. And then sometimes the best stuff comes out of that. So I still, I want you to keep pressing your creative side. As much as I want you to use it as your therapy. I want you to use it as your doctrine for life as you go forward. More importantly, I want you to continue to share your story. And I was just telling you how this week I'm completely drained. My testimony from this past year, it's a long story, and it's emotional and it's heartfelt. And when I pour that out to people, because of my new mission project, the rejection sometimes that I get, it shuts me down. It pisses me off. That people can be disrespectful. I see a side of people that I never knew that I would see. But then on the other side, it opens the doors for a lot of people as it goes through there. And so while I want you to jump into this full speed ahead, I also want you to know that it's not an easy journey. And throwing yourself out there with us tonight on a video cast and a podcast, it's risky for you, and I know you know that. But you're super strong, you're super intelligent, you have this whole creative side, and I know that where you're going with this is going to be crazy good, and I think you're going to inspire a lot of people. Maybe they can relate to something that's already in your life and they can see the creative side, but everybody has to at some point believe that they are here on this earth for a reason, and you just have to find your place, and you have to find what that is. And the cool thing about the world that we live in now is that can change. You can 3 months from now, you can be like, oh, I know I'm supposed to be a doctor. I had this pharmaceutical background. I've had this personal experience with mental health and the ability to learn about myself and evolve that. And now I have this entrepreneurial spirit, and I want to help other people. That it can evolve, and we live in a world of technology where you can change your mind, and you can be okay. So I like that aspect of it.
And even from talking that, that on that pool day to now, it has changed. The wood burning and everything, that's my therapy. That's something that I'm going to hold dear. And whether I want to make a business out of it, I think that's, down the road. I think that might be my second release or whatnot. But right now, I really truly feel like there's this stigma around mental health that it doesn't exist, and it's all in your mind. And that's not how I feel about it. And, I feel like getting my message out there, getting my story out there, and letting you know it's okay to feel like this. And one thing that truly offends me, and through all of this therapy appointments, they always have to do this thing, a suicide check. Have you thought about killing yourself? Do you have a plan or anything like that? That's a thought that's never crossed my mind, and that truly offends me. And it's these questions are always going to be no. Why do you have to ask them to me? Because I realize that I'm a creator, and I want to go out there and help people. And, suicide's not the answer. It may be the answer, that you, or how do I even say it? You may think it's the answer at the time, but, that's when you're so selfish that you don't think about, every impact that you could have around you, your family, your friends, what's that going to do to them?
But you understand that's why you're not suicidal, right?
Correct.
Because you still have that mindset that you're living for other people. People that are suicidal, they are living for themselves and only themselves. They have no concept, their depression has gone so far that they have no idea or a concept of what taking their own life will have on the impact of others. You are on the complete opposite spectrum. You know the devastation that would spread through your family and friends, and you don't want to do that. However, you're so far on the other end of the spectrum that you care so much about what other people think, and you care so much for other people that it became unhealthy for you.
Absolutely. And it's just when I hear those stories or see those stories, I'm just the mental health system that we have today is failing so many people. because I just put them in this psych ward or however you want to call it, and they don't really truly get to find out who they are or what they are, and you know, they're just trying to be told to you know, this is how they're supposed to live their life, and this is how they're what they're supposed to do, and there's so much more to that. So you know, I was like, man, like I gotta heal myself, and I want to help those other people heal, because when you go to, you know, you go and ask for help, you shouldn't have to go and ask for help multiple times. Now I understand, you know, some people do have the conditions where they're going to have to, but you know, what can I do? How can I heal myself and still make and help others? So, you know, one thing that's kind of changed as far as, you know, like I said, art therapies for myself, and that's how I've learned to heal, because that's my escape, that's my release, that's where I get to be creative and get to think.
But when you're ready, that's the part of you need to share. We've talked about this before. Your artwork is the door that's going to open, that brings people into you so that you can help them. That's where your story is going to come from. Like when you sent me that piece of artwork, it was beautiful. Like, and that was your first piece. Yeah. Excuse me, I can't imagine what your 10th piece and your 100th piece is going to look like. And people are going to see that, they're going to be drawn to that, and then they're going to DM you, and they're going to say, hey, I saw your phrase, I saw this message on this piece of work. What happened? I'm going through this, can you help me? So, excuse me, I want you to continue to use it. I want you to continue to use art as your therapy. But I'm going to challenge you to share it. If you don't share it, you're missing your purpose in life, because that purpose is, and it's deep down inside of you to provide for others and to help for others. Like that is there. But I would challenge you to not be selfish with your artwork. And there's probably some reasons there. You know, it's very personal. You're going to be judged on it, whether you want to or not. You're going to have to be strong enough to shed the nose. You're going to have to be humble enough to say, when they applaud you, you're going to have the humility to say, you know what, thank you, this is my journey. And when they're against you and they don't like what they see, you're going to have to be strong enough to realize that person is dealing with some crap of their own. And those are the people who they have enough time on their hands to criticize you. There's some hurt and there's some deep issues in there, and those are the people that you're going to have to reach. And that's the hard part. It's the hard part for me on a daily basis, is to realize when I'm criticized that it's solely because someone has nothing better in their life than to criticize other people, and that's super tough. So I'm going to really, really challenge you. This stuff that you're doing, the artwork that you're coming out with, it's beautiful stuff. And if you don't share it, you're actually becoming the opposite type of person that you want to be. And so whether that's your career down the line, I don't know. But I kind of talked about it. For me, when I was a chiropractor, music was my therapy. It was kind of an outlet for me, and then it became my job. And then I kind of lost the therapeutic outfit. Well, now golf is my therapy. If I need to get away and I need to escape and I need to be creative, I go out there, as I go through there. So whether you make that your career or not, you owe it to your creator to share that with the rest of the world, because that's his creation in you. And so while it can be your therapy, that's great, but I want you to share it with people. I really, really challenge you, because it's going to open the door for a lot of people. And just like you're talking, if they see the path that you're taking with mental illness and mental health, and how you're treating it, I don't know the people that were in that therapy group, but I'll guarantee you that they don't know their purpose in life, and I'll guarantee you that they are not creating at the level that they were designed to. And I guarantee you there's probably some very highly intelligent, hardworking people in there who have no one that believes in them, and they need that open door, whether you reach out to them or not. But if you put it out there, we live in a world now of social media, you just put it out there, people will draw to it, and they will see it. They'll see your honesty, your genuinity. They'll see exactly who you are, and they're going to be curious, and they're going to want to know about that journey that you've gone through there.
And I really think that's, why I haven't shared it yet. Like, I've been real close as far as I've looked up, finally how to make a Facebook page and everything, but there's something still holding me back, and that was me, and just hearing you say that today is
Oh, I felt it right away. Like, I know the hesitation there. You're like, well, I'm going to do this for me and my therapy, and I'm like, no, you're missing the boat here. Yeah. It's like your final step of healing. It really, really is putting yourself out there. And like I said, it's taxing some days. There's days that I'm like, I'm done with people. They don't understand. How can they not appreciate this? But it's because they have their own stuff they're dealing with, and it's this that's going to really open the door for people and letting them see that, oh my gosh, hey, this lady had a great career doing all this stuff, and on the outside should have been great. I mean, even when we were talking in the pool and you were telling me about your life, I'm like, what's going on? Why is she not happy? And it's purely because you're not using your full potential for the reason that you're here, and that's what you have to realize is what your full potential is. I have no idea. It's definitely just getting tapped into.
Exactly, and I don't know what my full potential is, but I know it's there. Like, and it's about uncovering it and finding out truly who you are. And we had some contractors come in and talk about leadership and everything, and there's one thing that really sticks in my mind that his name was Patch, that said, and he's like, what does great look like to you? Mm-hmm. And that's something I really couldn't answer, and why I don't know that I can really answer it right now. What great looks like is taking a leap of faith. I've never done a podcast. I haven't put myself out there on social media, and when you reached out and asked if you wanted to do a podcast, I was like, yeah, like I'm ready to get my story out there.
You were, yeah, you didn't hesitate at all.
No, like I'm ready to take that step and put it out there and let people know, like, it's okay to feel the way you're feeling, and you got to start with small steps and asking for help or reaching to art therapy, or start reaching out to people that that are going to support you and not always belittle you and bring you down, because inside each and every person there is this great potential, and it's up to you whether you release it or not. And that's just been an eye-opening experience for me, and every morning that I get up, I remember that. What does great look like for you today, Brittany? Great might only look like making my bed, and I'm okay with that.
Does that make you not great?
No, doesn't make you not great, but that's what made me feel great, and that's what made me feel okay. The rest of the day I might be paralyzed and sitting on the couch, fighting with this anxiety and this constant battle, but I have that one thing to hold on to, that I got up, I took a shower, and I made my bed, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. And whether people judge me because of it, you know what? That's okay too, because
So you are going to put that artwork out on social media.
I am going to put that artwork out there on social media.
Good.
I am.
Because they're going to judge you because you just only made your bed for a day. That's the only thing you did in one day. So what's worse than that? You just put your artwork out there.
People make millions of dollars with taping a banana against the wall, as
really?
art.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, what do I have to lose?
Yeah.
I don't have anything to lose. The only thing that I have to lose is my anxiety and my depression and, whatever else tries to bring me down.
So how are you going to handle it when you put it out there and somebody criticizes it, or somebody says, I don't think they're going to criticize your artwork because it's good. I think they're probably going to criticize you because maybe they're jealous. And I'm speaking of people that know you, because that's the stuff that's going to bother you the most. How are you going to handle that?
I really haven't decided how I'm going to handle that yet, but one thing that I do know is if they judge me,
I'm going to tell you how to handle it. You're going to handle it as your answer was to me. This is my therapy. This is my artwork. This is my therapy. And as long as you always use it at that, whatever people think, it's not going to matter. if you put it out there and you're looking for accolades, you're going to get both. You're going to get accolades, you're going to get criticism. But if you put it out there truly as the therapy and the art that it is for you, then you're going to draw those people in that do that. When I put a song, I don't really care. People like my music, they don't like my music. I wrote a song called John Deere Rockstar. It was the very first country song I ever wrote, put on the radio, blah, blah. And man, the true diehard country people hated it because it was too rocky. And like, I had people come into concerts that actually spent their own money and made tank tops that said, "Thanks Jake Gill for ruining country music." Like, they gave me that much credit. Number one, I was like, yes. Number two, they bought a ticket to come to my show. Number three, they spent money on tank top. So I had to realize that, now looking back, I realized that there's obviously issues with those people. They had that much time and that much heartfelt to put into something like that. But it's gonna be there. But all those criticisms, it really wasn't about the art, and it wasn't about the music. It was about me. It was about, they were attacking me. And so I just, you learn to brush that off. So near and dear people to you probably are going to be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And they're really going to criticize you if you decide to walk away from the life that you had before, the career, the money. They're really going to question you. However, your happiness is worth way more than that. And if you judge, because I love this saying, if you judge your success on your level of happiness, you're never going to go wrong. Ever going to go wrong. And that's what people don't see, because people relate happiness to money and to career and to the best photo they can put on Instagram. And that's how people relate happiness. And man, you were just in a room with them. I don't know how many people were there looking for happiness in a pill, looking for happiness from a doctor. And it's not there. It's not there. And if we're looking for happiness for anybody than ourselves, we're always gonna be. That's why you got to get your artwork out there. That's why, because that artwork is your outward expression of you finding happiness, and it's going to evolve into your artwork and that artwork that you do. So that's why it's so important that you put it out there, because if you don't put it out there, that's just you being selfish, not helping other people. And that's definitely not, that's not why we're here. And I know that's not why you're here. You were so willing, and I haven't helped you a whole lot, but you were so willing to step up and say, "Hey, I need help." People have to find that point. And there was something about either a post I put out there or something that just made it easy for you. And I don't know, when we had that phone conversation and I said, "Hey, we're doing 50 gifts, 50 wishes," you had a need, but there was something in our conversation that opened that door for you, that made you feel comfortable to tell me what you were going through. And I really have to believe that if I hadn't told you my story, and I hadn't told you my faith, and I hadn't told you that, hey, I had an older brother that kicked me in the seat of my pants and told me, "You're not going to lay in this hospital bed, you're not going to die," because I was in a severe depression at that point in time. And had I not had someone in my life tell me that, then my story would never be told. And I have a gut feeling that it was my story that opened that door that makes you feel comfortable to do what you're doing here tonight, and that's to tell your story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I guarantee you, and there's hundreds of thousands of women out there who live their life for other people, hundreds and thousands of men who live their life for other people, trying to please them or living a life that they think they're supposed to live when that's not true at all. You can live your life and live a happy life for yourself and serve others, and you have to find that niche.
Yeah, up until coming out here, for that pool day, I felt like I was alone. I felt like, I had to make this journey myself, and, just, in speaking with you and hearing your story, I walked out of here knowing that I'm not alone. And, if there's women and men out there that are feeling the same way, you're not alone. Like, there's other people that are going through the same thing. you can find your healing, and it's just, dig down deep in yourself, and find those little things that do make you feel important. And up until and probably the last 5 or so years, like, I really haven't cared what other people think about me. And then it's been something that I've always, like, I've been told, perception is your reality and stuff, and that's not true. And so here I am today, and and I am going to go create that Facebook page, and put my art out there, and haters are going to hate, and that's okay. That's I'm okay with that, because this is me, this is my story, and this is how I've done it. And I'm not saying that it's not going to get me down or whatnot, but in fact, I think it's going to make me laugh. Because 10 years ago, I probably would have been that same person. Like, man, look at that person's artwork; it's crappy. Or
yes, your artwork's not crappy.
Yeah,
so you're
good.
So
where I am today, and just the journey that I've been through in this last month has been a real eye opener. And just putting myself out there today. I don't care if people judge me, because this is who I am, and I'm closing a chapter that I don't want to ever reopen, and I want to open a new chapter and have some meaning to my life. I want to get up and feel like there's, I'm living for something, and not just living to go to work and come home and pay my bills.
Sure.
and be unhappy.
Sure.
There's so much more to life than that.
Sure. Cool. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, Brittany. All right, let's play. So I want to thank Brittany for coming on tonight and discussing a topic that is delicate in its best. I want to also say that anytime abuse happens, we have to remember that the victim is the one that we see, and the offender more than likely is also a victim at some point in their life. And I think that's important for us to remember and to have empathy in those situations. Most importantly, though, to be able to recognize that something's not right mentally or physically in your body and in your life. That's vitally important. And no matter what form of treatment that you seek, I highly encourage you to seek that. I've been fortunate enough to have mentors and coaches that show us that if you know your passion in life, that really is the key to happiness. Is finding out what your purpose in life is, and that is usually the intersection of what you enjoy and what you're good at. And if you can find an occupation or a hobby that allows you to do that, your chance of success in life and being happy, because that's really what success should be defined as, is our happiness level in life. And if you can do that, that's what this show is all about. Coffee with Jake G is all about helping people find their purpose in life, finding happiness, and removing those roadblocks. And we were able to start that process for Brittany, and just getting her involved on her creative side. She already had a vision, a dream. She just wasn't sure how to get it started. And so I'm happy to be a part of that. If you have a vision or a dream and you're not sure how to get it off the ground, or you've got roadblocks in the way, people, places, or things that are keeping you from doing that, send me a message, jake@jakegill.net, or message me on Facebook, all the social media platforms. I'd love to help you. And thanks for joining us tonight. I think success should be measured by your happiness, not your pocketbook. You've got to figure out what makes you happy and how to turn that into a career. If you love the process and not the prize,